Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So today we've got a 1980s personal stereo here from Sanyo, and this is the MGR59. So basically a very simple cassette player with 3 transport controls. We literally just have play, stop and fast forward with a volume slider there, and it's also got a built-in radio as well, and that's switchable from the top section there from just between radio and tape, and then you can also choose between AM, FM and indeed FM stereo with the small LED light just there. 1 headphone out socket, and of course the tuning dial for the radio, which is shown on the display just there as a sliding display, just to give you an idea of what channel you're tuning into, of course. So this particular one has come to me in fairly good cosmetic condition, it has to be said. Needs a bit of a polish and a bit of a clean, but I don't know if it actually works or not, so I thought it'd be quite a nice opportunity today just to have a look at a basic kind of health check, just to see A, if it even works, and B, what we can do just to check it over and make sure it will last us a while longer. So to that end, all I'm going to do today is give it a look over, clean the heads, check the belt condition, the battery terminals and all that sort of thing. So the first thing I want to do then is try it to see if it runs off its own power. So to that end, we'll just check the battery compartment. Now, this is quite an issue with a lot of personal stereos, especially of this age. Now, this particular one doesn't look too bad inside there, but it's a little bit corroded, so this may or may not work off the batteries. Now, breaking a bit of a rule here, because what we're going to be doing is mixing the batteries a little bit, but that's not going to be the end of the world for this little test. So we'll put the 3 batteries in. That's the 4.5 volts, and we'll just see if it powers up. Okay. Yep, that's powered up, and just applying a little bit of pressure to the roller there. Now it actually seems to be turning quite nicely. It's offering some resistance, which tends to suggest that the belt is in pretty good condition as well. So that's great. But what I will do next is actually take the batteries out. Excuse the work going on next door. Actually, we'll leave that one in for a minute. But the next stage we want to do is just have a look at the DC voltage. So we'll check that as well. So with the batteries removed, I want to do the same test again, but just checking off the DC adapter. So to that end, we've got 4.5 volt DC, obviously with the 3 1.5 volt batteries there. But this one is a positive tip. Always important to check that. A lot of the boom boxes and the old stereos and stuff that I work on are a negative tip of assorted voltages, but this one's positive. So we'll just check the DC in. So we'll plug that in there and just check to see if we've got power. And sure enough, there it is. Good. So we know that it runs off the batteries. We know that it runs off the DC voltage as well. So next thing is let's plug it in and check the headphone output. Okay, so we've just hooked it up to the stereo for a minute via the headphone output to see if we can get any radio signal first. So there we go. We've got AM. So let's have a look at FM. We'll just see if we can find any signal. There we go. Good. So there's no crackling. Everything works across there. We won't get FM stereo probably, because we would normally expect the headphones to be the antenna, plus the reception in this room isn't the best anyway, but at least we know the functionality is there, which is great. So just going to move this over to tape, and we'll try and put a cassette in now and see if that works. So just reach over. Okay, so this is the first time we've actually put a cassette into here now, so we'll try this one. And there we go. Marvellous. So we just stop that, fast forward, and that's working fine. Whoops, jolt the camera there. And stop, play, Good. Okay, so it's working fine. So what we'll do now though is we'll just go ahead and clean the heads and just check on the belt condition. Everything so far suggests that it's all good, so we'll just take a quick look now. So I've just moved back to the table for a minute, and I just wanted to show you the FM stereo light, of course, because we didn't get to check that just now. Moved into a slightly better position. What I've done is I've just put some old Sanyo headphones into it to use, obviously, as it would be intended. So we'll just put that onto radio, and hopefully, there we go. You can sort of see the, there we go, there's the FM stereo light trying to work. And that's the headphones trying to act as an aerial. Obviously we're inside, we're in quite an enclosed building at the moment. So it's only flickering on and off. There you go. There we go. Okay, so good. So we've managed to get the FM just to confirm that that works. So that's excellent news. So all the functionality is good on this. So let's just give it a bit of a clean. So now we know that the functionality is great on this. All I'm going to do now is just clean the head. Easy job on this one. Just press play and that exposes the head. And I've got some isopropyl alcohol on a sort of Q-tip or ear cleaner, whatever you want to call it. And we're literally just going to just drag that a few times across the front. And it's nice and clean actually, which is what we kind of expected. Also, what I want to do, just press stop now and just clean around the capstan as well, just to see if there's any residue on there. And then once we've done that, we can also bring the play back out and just start to just to clean around the pinch roller as well, just to make sure that that hasn't got any sort of residue on it. So let's have a look at that now. And we're literally just turning the pinch roller, kind of flicking it as we go. So we're cleaning it and turning it as we go. And you can see that there's a moderate amount of gunk has come off of that. You'd have expected that over the years, of course. So nothing major. Arguably you would do all this first, but the tape I was using to demonstrate it just now, just an old tape. And so that's fine. So anyway, that's that done. So the head's clean already. That's great. So let's just check on the belt. So we're just going to take a look at the belt mechanism now. And for this one, it's just 3 simple screws. So we've got 1, 2, and 1 inside the battery compartment. More often than not with any old stereo equipment, you'll find screws buried away somewhere within the battery compartment. So the 3 screws are identical length, and now we will literally just carefully unclip the back. Nice and simple, old school this is, because there's nothing to worry about, no antennas attached, no desoldering required or anything like that. And also now it gives us perfect access just to clean the spring if we want to, and the battery contact, and the same indeed for these. Now a little tip actually, quite often these old Sanyos and other old personal stereos may actually be sold as not working, and quite often it'll just be something silly like some gunk there on the battery terminal. And again, you can do the same trick by just using that alcohol again and just cleaning off the battery contact, or even a little bit of acid, a bit of lemon juice or vinegar, or even if you need to, some slightly abrasive like sandpaper or what have you, just to polish up the metal. And you can see that there's more gunk sort of coming off of this. We know it worked, of course. We've already tested it and it wasn't bad enough corrosion to stop it from working. But obviously, the cleaner the contacts are, then the better performance we're going to get and the maximum voltage out of the battery. So I'll go ahead afterwards and polish that, probably with a splash of lemon juice or something as well, just to clean it up a little bit more. But you can see how easy that is to get to. So that's that done. So we can see the belt now, and it's actually in good condition. We know it works well. It was playing perfectly well. It's got elasticity in it. It's flexible, but it's still got some tension in there. There's no sign really of any sort of pickup or belt degradation on the pulley, so it's all good. But anyway, let's just go ahead and remove the 2 circuit board screws, because, well, I've never actually done it on this specific model. I believe by removing these 2 screws, we should be able, and just like that, we can get to the belt. So it literally is a simple single belt operation, of course. So around the motor pulley there, and then around the flywheel there. So if you did want to change the belt or do any deep cleaning or anything like that, it's as simple as that. Really easy to do. Removal and replacement is as simple as that. So that all you literally then do is put these 2 screws back in, put the cover plate back on, 3 screws back in the case. Job's a good one. So we'll just put this back together now. And then the back cover to go back on. So just carefully line that up. You have to watch on some of these old Sanyo units. They can break. They can be quite fragile across this back corner. So just be careful when you're clipping and snapping it back in. There we go. Not to force it. Perfect. So then the 3 screws to go back in. And it's done. So basically all we've done is just cleaned the head, given it a once over, checked it for DC voltage, and we know that obviously if the battery power isn't working but the mains voltage is, then we know we just need to clean the contact for the battery. If the DC voltage input is intermittent, then it could well just be a broken solder joint on the board for the input voltage, so we can get to that, of course, easily from the board. Also, if the headphone jack is intermittent and crackling and coming and going, or mono and then stereo, and you've ruled out the problem with the lead with the headphones, then it could be the same issue with the headphone. The headphone jack could just be that little bit dry as well on the board, so you can always reflow that solder joint if you want to. But yeah, it's as simple as that. So let's just go ahead now and give it a bit of a polish. And so to this end, I'm just going to put a little bit of polishing compound on some of the plastic and then finish it off with some car polish. And it's been really gentle, just restoring some of the colour a little bit. What we know about these particular models, by the way, is that all the silver foiling and the patterns, the print is on the inside of the case. So by doing this, we're not actually causing any risk. You can see some of the gunk that's come off, that sort of discoloration and general yuckiness. And we're not going to go mad on this. This is really just a token kind of polish, really, just to make sure that we've got some fine scratches out of it. And we just keep working our way. Just be careful, don't get any solvents or fluids inside any of the holes, of course, any of the jacks, or be careful around vintage labels and stuff like that. And also don't go mad trying to polish inside on textured plastics as well, because of course all you'll do is you'll end up polishing the texture off, so you don't want to do that. So just use like a vinyl cleaner or a little cleansing cream just to work into the grain on the plastic. Right, okay, let's carry on. So the polishing's done, looking good. Just going to put a tiny little bit of wax on it now just to help protect it. And just the smallest amount, literally is. And again, being careful not to get it into any of the holes. So we're just gonna gently put a bit of the wax onto the plastic surfaces. You don't have to do this, of course, but just helps keep some of the further grime off it in the future. And to be honest, it's just nice to give it a bit of a treat now and again. Incidentally, I won't be using this one, so it's really just a case of making it look super pretty, really. Just for go back into storage. It'll probably go on display, actually, this one. I bought this because, well, essentially, it reminds me of one I had when I was a kid. So I had the MGR59, which didn't have the radio on it, but I wanted to get another one, kind of recapture my youth and all of that. So I kind of ended up with a bit of a clutch of these old machines, and they're just for posterity, really. So obviously, if you're going to use them, then that's amazing, that's awesome. Right, but anyway, almost there. I'm just going to put a touch of vinyl cleaner now on the back part, and we'll be done. And so a little bit of vinyl and rubber care. Right, literally it's just the smallest little amount there on the cloth, and I'm just going to put some of that onto the plastic. You can see how it will wet the plastic and make it look glossier again, bring the shine back. As I say, we don't want to go mad, and we be careful going over stickers and things, decals, because we don't want to go in there and start raising the adhesive. We can actually get the belt clip off and go in underneath there, but that's a little bit of overkill. So there we go, just working that in, and then just buff it to a bit of a polish. And once we've done that, we can then just use one more small piece of clean cloth, buff the whole thing, and she'll be good as new. So here we go, here we have said cloth, just a nice bit of soft shop towel, and we'll give that a rub. Now by this time it's so clean that actually fingerprints and everything will start to show on it anyways, but there we go. So that, look at that, just gorgeous. Just zoom out a little bit, and there she is, good as new, absolutely stunning condition. Now we know it fully works. We've tested the battery connections, we've tested the DC input adapter, we've tested the tape, we've cleaned the heads, we've checked the belt, we've checked the full functionality of the radio player, and so yeah, there she is, good as new, absolutely gorgeous. And that's one more for the collection. So if you've got any old personal stereos that you have that perhaps you found in the back of the cupboard or in a loft, or maybe there's one online, maybe on eBay or something like that you've seen, but it says it doesn't work, quite often there'll be something quite simple that's wrong with it, and it won't be a major fix. So this one actually hasn't been really a repair video. This is just a general sort of service once over, and just a gentle little restoration. So I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, please do like it and hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell also for notifications, because we've got a lot more sort of in-depth boombox restorations to do. So I'll be looking at radio repairs, cassette mechanism repairs, casings and general sort of plastic repairs and restoration and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to see. So as I say, thanks again for watching. And from me and this beautiful little Sanyo unit, it's goodbye for now. Thank you.